Picking up from segment 1, this is segment 2, all about quick and easy ways to create annotations for your drawings. Now jumping back over to the model we created earlier, we're going to specify some virtual sharps. Now virtual sharp is if a corner came together and we've added a fillet. A virtual sharp would be the corner that would have been created without that rounded edge. Now a lot of times people use a point and some relationships and a sketch entity to create this, but it doesn't actually specify the edges it's attached to, and that's something we should denote. So I'm going to jump into the software, show you how to do that, because it should be very valuable in your drawings. So if you're in your Smart Dimension command and you right-click on the first edge, you can choose Find Intersection, and then pick on your second edge. And this will create our first virtual intersection. You can do that again on your second edge, Find Intersection, and then it will allow you to create what would be that edge without those two tangents. Now I'm going to quickly create just a couple dimensions here. Now this is kind of a mess. What I want to talk to you about is alignment. So when you right click and select a bunch of dimensions, you have some options and some palettes that you probably aren't aware of, or they're easily missed, and I want to cover those now. So when you right click a group of dimensions, you have this align line item in your right menu, and you have quite a few options here. So we're just going to say space evenly across or auto align. So in this we're actually going to do auto arrange, and you'll see it evenly spaced those dimensions. Now this command can also be accessed using the dimension palette. So when I select all of these items, there's this little button that if we hover over opens up what's called the dimension palette. This allows you to change a lot of things about your dimensions, add tolerancing, kind of all from this window, and you can access it all just by hovering over that icon. So this is that same auto arrange. Obviously my dimensions are auto arranged already, and so it won't change anything. I would definitely encourage you to look at that window, as it really offers a lot of the functionality you have to go several places to access, all in one concise window for your dimensions or for multiple dimensions. So as we can see, my dimensions here have parentheses. Now this may or may not be your standard, but this is a system option we can easily find. So if we again open up our system options, we can type in and search for this, and we can find quite a few different options, but we have add parentheses by default. If you click that item, it will take you to the page that this is chosen on, and you can add or remove this option. I'm going to leave this on by default, but just be aware, searching for these options will easily let you get to them or access them and find them, because the system's options window is quite large. Now we're going to jump over to this assembly model and look at some balloon options. So when you choose a balloon, you can add it to a model, and that's pretty common, or you can auto balloon. This isn't about that. So when you've created a balloon that you want to attach a second point to, so for example this bolt and this washer, it wouldn't make sense to have two lines, because zoomed out it would be very ambiguous which item we're pointing to. We should probably combine them into one stack. So by right clicking on a single balloon, you can choose add to stack, allowing you to choose a second item to be added. Now we have 6 specifying our bolt, and 5 which specifies our washer. Now we've created a stack, we have an ISO view here. Let's quickly jump over to the drawing for the front horn and actually do the dimensioning on this. So instead of grabbing our Smart Dimension command and going to town, we're actually going to use model items. Now this was drawn pretty well, so I would assume there's probably dimensions we can leverage off of. So the first time I'm going to uncheck eliminate duplicates, and I'm actually going to just say entire model and import into all views and just say OK. Now this is going to get pretty messy. Now this is importing every dimension into every view, and this is probably not quite what we need, so we're just going to undo that. We're going to do model items again, but this time we're going to make sure to eliminate duplicates and say OK. Now we're going to have a single instance of all of our dimensions added to our model. Now some of these don't make a ton of sense. So for example, this one right here makes no sense. the model, the import brought it into the wrong view, and we need to probably add it to a more relevant view. And we can do that by shift clicking and dragging it into the relevant view. Now we can go into leader type or any kind of options. Say we want to make it a diameter, and that makes way more sense for our model. Now also if we look at, say, this radius. Now this one makes a bit of sense, but there's better views to put it on. So we can actually grab the endpoint of this and move it to another feature that belongs to the same fillet. So as you can see, we just grabbed the point, dragged it to a new edge, and it's reassigned and moved to that edge, since all of those belong to the same fillet command. Now, some other things that get asked quite often have to do with arc length, angle. So for example, what is the angle that this line resides at? That can be kind of confusing. Or, what is the angle created at the top of this? So if I grab my Smart Dimension command and I grab 1 point and 1 point, and then I grab the center, you'll see it creates an arc angle, or the angle from one side of the arc to the other. Now, if I go back one and I click on the line itself, I will actually get the true arc length, allowing me to see the length of my arc. We're going to remove both of those. And lastly, we're going to talk about angles and easily creating an angle when it's in an inconvenient location. So if we can see here, this angle created on this servo horn doesn't really have a straight line to draw its angle from. We can actually create virtual angles. So if I click on the line and then I choose this point, I will get this quadrant system. Now I can choose the horizontal line by hovering over it and clicking, and it's going to create this 97-degree angle from the horizontal. This is just an easy way to add those angles to those lines that are, not easily defined by other straight lines in your drawing. Thank you so much for watching the second segment of our Tech Showcase Tips and Tricks for Drawings. If you missed our first segment on advanced view creation, click over here. If you want to catch the third segment on productivity tools for drawings, click over here.